this thing says I'm live. It's not a video. It's not a ride along. We don't do that anymore because things changed. So here I am, just me sitting in the house, fiddling around. Just got up about an hour or so ago, hour and a half. So we'll see if anybody's out there. Music buffs will know where I got that from. Even as bad of a rendition of that I did. 351 Cleveland. How do? Wait a few minutes, see if anybody else comes in. I'm not going to be on here that long. Just doing this to have something out there. You might like it, you might not. I talk anything from fiddlings I do, to faith, to religion, politics. A lot of people don't like that, but yeah, that's what's on my mind. Folks don't like it, they can scroll on. Scroll on, scroll on, scroll on. Little rhythm from Alabama song. Roll on highway, roll on long. Till you get back home.
That's the only good goodie.
It is. It's real life. Describes real life for a lot of truckers. Michael Clardy comes to mind on that.
Yeah.
So I'm just sitting here. I got my crochet over there to the side. I'm thinking about doing a little bit more on that. Got a piece of wood out yesterday, and I fiddled with it a little bit. Don't know what I'm going to do with it, if anything. Thinking about putting my name on there. Piggy. And embellish it up a little bit. Elaine's got me some drawings over there that I can put over on the wood, but I'd need bigger pieces of wood. I ain't got bigger pieces of wood right now. And I got my little chisels out. Carbon chisels. See how that works out with my hands. Might not work out too well. My hands were hurting me so bad yesterday, I just couldn't really do much of nothing. So anyway, sorry it's not a ride along. If we happen to go out for something, we'll have to try to remember to do one.
Yeah.
It's going to be kind of hard though, since it's not a regular thing.
Yeah.
But you never know. This era of what I'm supposed to be doing might be over. Just don't know. I'm still going to put stuff out there. Be like everybody else. Put my 2 cents worth on stuff out there.
That's it.
People want to listen to truth. Great. If not, great. Their choice. The big thing on my mind is people's up in arms about Trump's suggestion of a 50-year mortgage. How that's going to benefit the banks.
It ain't gonna benefit the people. I can tell you that.
Well, here's the thing, though. that would cut the mortgage rates almost in half. If it gets the interest down, like he's working on, it's not going to give them as much. It's going to come out about the same. And two, if people would do like they should, backtrack.
Hey, backtrack.
If people would do like they should with such things, find them a nice little house, not something that's going to push their finances to the limits, but something that they can afford, still have money left over. They could make double payments, one on the principal and one on the interest, and then work with buying used cars instead of a brand new car. I know what it's like to want a new car. But then you got that payment and higher insurance. Get a good, decent used car that's going to cost you less in the long run. Learn how to work on it a little bit, what you can. Run the tires and rims off those things. You won't have a car payment every month. You might have to fix it every once in a while. That's different than having a car payment every month. Here's what people do. They'll get their credit up and they'll start buying stuff, and they will buy stuff until they max out their financial income to where they're barely making it because they got so many bills. Because they got to have the new car, they got to have the new this, they got to have the new that. When if they made do with something that might not be new, but it's serviceable. You use what's serviceable. Get a decent enough house that allows you to have more of your money because you're not trying to buy something that maxes out your financial limit. And you take the money you save and you put it on making an extra payment or two on the principal, and you chew that thing up. Then when you get it paid off, because you're going to pay it off much sooner. That's how it's supposed to have been with a 30-year mortgage. But people just have to have that big banging blinging house to show off. Instead of having a decent enough house with a little bit of land that they can put a garden on, maybe put a few chickens and whatnot, put in the freezer, and have the eggs. There you go, backtrack. So you know what I'm saying. A big old Suburban, that's a lot of gas though, but if you can afford the gas, hey, more power to you. I'm glad for you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably old enough you can work on it when it needs working on. And see, that's what I'm saying. Get something you can work on. Get a big enough home for what you actually need. And if you need a workshop area, get you an old shed or build you a shed and make you a workshop area. And build up. Everybody wants everything right now, though. If everybody quit wanting everything right now, they could get them a decent place. No, it might not be a 4 or 5 bedroom, 5,000 square feet with a nice garage and this, that, and the other thing. But might be a simple 2 or 3 bedroom, more than enough for what you need, big enough kitchen. And that's another thing too. People want these itty bitty kitchens, these huge living rooms and dens, and everything being on laptops and mobile phones these days. You don't need a grand pavilion. I wish I could say that, backtrack. I don't like mechanicing, never have. Got my reasons. And things have gotten with cars nowadays where you about need an electronics degree, better one than what I got, in order to understand how to work on them things these days. But then if you go try to get an older vehicle to work on, you're going to get rammed up the butt for the price of it. And you're going to get hit hard for parts for it because they know what you're doing. So it's all going to balance out. But just get you a nice enough space, home, where you can do what you want to do. Have enough land go with it. Have a little garden, some chickens, and maybe a few other things if you work that. Maybe enough space to put you a greenhouse on it so you can keep gardening year round. Put you a nice size shed on it, work it up into a shop for doing everything you need to do. And then take the money you save by you buying used cars, keeping them fixed up, and finding deals at yard sales and garage sales, and find stuff you need, but at a decent price and that are still serviceable. That's true, backtrack. That's why we like going where I like to go. They are a touch on the expensive side, but you get more value for your buck than what you're paying.
They guarantee their work and the part.
Yep. You buy it through them, they'll guarantee the part and their work. Something goes wrong, they replace it for free. Teresa J.
Hey, Teresa.
But so Trump's 50-year plan really isn't a bad idea if people will buy modestly, moderately, and sensibly. They could get a decent home, get a fixer-upper. You get it at a cheaper price and you fix it up as you go. And everything. And the money you save by buying used and producing a lot of your own stuff. All right, Tanya, you work and lurk. Hey, that's a thing. You can make you could make a signage in wood, paper, whatever else. It says work and lurk. This is how we do it. But anyway, on a 50-year plan, you're going to have a cut mortgage anyway. Interest rates are going down, so that'll help too. And if people buy moderately, modestly, and sensibly, they could get a fixer-upper for next to nothing, relatively. Save money by buying used cars and keeping them running. Having their own chickens and a small garden and a greenhouse, and put you a shed on the place if you need a shop. And the money you save, you could be making 2 and 3 payments on the house payment, one or two on the principal and one regular payment. And in 10, 20 years, your place is paid off and you've got it fixed up and it's nice. But people don't want to do that. They got to have new everything. They got to have every new gadget instead of working with what they got. Haunting the yard sales, garage sales, thrift stores, finding stuff they can use and make serviceable. So in 10, 20 years when the house is paid off, you want that new car, go get it. You want that new gadget, go get it. because you no longer have a house payment. Your house would be paid off. That's how it was supposed to work with a 30-year mortgage. People be able to budget wisely. They can make an extra payment on that house each month. If they only made an extra payment once or twice a month a year, it's going to chew up on that interest. But if you can make one every month, maybe two, from what you save from being smart on everything else, people could have their houses paid off in 10 years by doing that. Maybe 20 on the outside. I know it can be done. She's got a cousin whose husband did that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a grand big thing. It's a trailer and some land.
What about 2.5, 3 acres of land? Yeah.
But he had it paid off in 10 years, working a mill job. Mill jobs, they pay okay, but they don't pay that great. He was smart.
They paid the payment, then every time they got their tax refunds, they take the majority of that, pay it on the principal.
And chewed that interest up.
Yeah. Had it paid off in 10 years.
Had it paid off in 10 years. So for I don't know how many years now, he's been sitting there on a piece of property that's paid off. He can do what he wants to.
Pretty much everything they own is paid off.
Yeah. Because he was smart about it. He was wise. And that's what doing all that's about. And another thing people don't take into account is they can do that with a property, bring it up so far, make it really nice, take about 10 years and put a real hurting on the payment. After about 10 years, you might have it paid down enough to where if you're smart, you could upgrade to a bigger house, have a whole lot to put down on it, which would make your purchase price even lower. And then they could buy a better place that they could start fixing up. You know, it's maybe at the stage you've got it at when you go to sell it. You sell that thing to buy something else a little better, and you start fixing up on it, do the same thing. So you're still on a mortgage, but you're in a better place. So you're not stuck to that 150-year mortgage. And then, because property appreciates, which means it goes up in cost over time. So you could sell the place you've got possibly for dang near for the cost of what you're going to buy. And then you're paying a lesser payment on a new place that's about at the stage where you got the old place at. You start working on it. Yeah, you've got a new mortgage, but you're going to have a lower payment. You're going to have a lower purchase price. And then you can start doing that with that place and keep going.
Hey, Chris.
Chris. But instead, what people will do once they get credit, oh, I've got credit enough to get this kind of house. All brand new, bells and whistles, it's banging, it's blinging, and all like that. And then they got to go out and get that brand new whatever vehicle and you know, brand new name brand clothes. You know, down here at Providence, it's mostly for women. But women can find decent enough clothes there. And there's other thrift stores that are around rich places where they have much better used clothes and whatnot. That you can look like you shopped at a really great place when you got it at a thrift store. See, Chris, you understand.
Hi to Miss Alice, too.
And but everybody in an uproar about that 50-year mortgage. It's not going to be any different than the 30-year mortgage because people are not going to be wise about how they buy. If they're going to be wise about how they buy or knowing how and when to refinance, like Chris mentioned, yeah, you're going to always have that one big payment for 50 years, which is what people have been doing on the 30-year mortgage anyway, paying that one huge price. Because they got to have everything new. They got to have everything right now. They got to have that new gadget. They got to have that brand new car. Reverend Dream, how you doing, son?
Hey, Reverend Dream.
Yeah, so and that's why a lot of people are complaining because they're going to have themselves under a 50-year mortgage, but they don't know how to budget. They don't know how to do basic finances. And, you know, and also under the 30-year mortgage, it didn't matter. By the time most people are able to afford a 30-year mortgage, they're 25 to 35. Well, 30 years, they're going to be 55 to 65. And still in that same home, still under that same 30-year mortgage. Because they've been buying brand new cars every time instead of finding a good used one and just keep it fixed as it needs it. Burgers are here. Go get them
that
burgers.
Sounded good.
Go get them burgers. So it'd be no different with a 50-year than a 30-year because people aren't going to be smart about how they buy and budget. They got to show off their credit and show off all these new things.
I just want a two-bathroom home. I don't care if it's a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom. I just want a 2-bathroom home.
Well, if we got a 3-bedroom, 1 bath, we could turn a bedroom into a bath.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't care how many bedrooms are, as long as I got 2 bathrooms.
We have a great need for 2 toilets.
If there's more than one person living in the house, you better believe there's a great need for more than 1 toilet.
Yeah, I think you should have a toilet for every person that's there.
That's it, right there.
That way in times of troubles, y'all know what I mean, ain't nobody got to wait on one. So, but okay, Joy, I get you on that one. You do have a lot of kids. How you doing, big sis? I hope you're doing well.
Hey, Miss Joey. Hey, Mr. Scott.
But, like I was saying, people are in an uproar about that 50-year mortgage, but they don't realize most people are going to treat it like they would a 30-year mortgage. They're going to max everything out and always be on the edge of win or lose. Because they got to have that new car and every new gadget that comes out, and they don't grocery shop sensibly. They want all the stuff that's thrown in the microwave and done, all like that, instead of making a lot of their meals. Now there's some people I can understand, they need stuff like that because their jobs take up the majority of their day, so they don't get to eat at home like they want to, or spend much time at home, which goes back to what I was talking about a while ago. People want these itty bitty tiny kitchens and big, huge entertaining areas. And probably not, Joy. Which on a business sense side of it makes sense. Now they might if they know you got a banging insurance that'll pay off all your final expenses. Because then they know they're gonna get paid one way or the other. But it's all in how people go about financing and managing their money. Too many people out there want that big brand new banging house. Then they want to go out and buy that big expensive truck or car, brand new, and whatever gadgets come along, all the latest banging electronics and all like that. They don't know how to make do and manage their money and do with thrift store clothes and finds at yard sales and garage sales and thrift stores and all like that, where they can find stuff that they can use for the things that they want to do and need to do. And all that, they got to have that. Oh man, look at that thing right there. Boy, ain't that gorgeous. We go to Lowe's. I like to go through the tool section. That's my toy store. And I'll see stuff of it. Oh man, that would have been so nice. I only get if there's something that we actually have to have. And see, that's a smart move. You got a nice place. That's what I'm talking about. People will go and max out whatever they've got to get a certain level of home or car or whatever, instead of thinking about, well, I can do it like this and then fix it up. Get your fixer upper on a house, fixer upper on a car, fix it up. It'd be paid off and save some money back, and then be putting that money on the mortgage, saving up, make an extra payment every month. That will chew that interest up.
Miss Joy, Mr. Scott, I think theirs is paid up.
It is. They own it outright.
Yeah.
Because what they sold in Colorado
Pay for what they
was more than enough to pay for what they got in Texas.
That's why you do it.
And Big Sis, old mountain woman, she knows how to make do with this or that. She knows how to cook her own stuff. She knows how to have chickens. She knows how to cook from scratch. Oh, Lord, we've seen how she can cook from scratch.
I'm saying.
Yeah. And you save money that way.
I was sitting here full. The tick that's been on dog for 10 days. And I can watch her cook, and I'll be, oh, man, just mouth water.
Yeah. And that's a smart way of doing things. But most people aren't going to be smart about how they do something. Take an old fixer up, or they want everything to look picture perfect right from the get-go. They don't want to take the time to fix something up. But if you do it the right way, you could have your place paid off in at least 20 years by doing that. And by the time you're done, it's going to look like that banging house that you want. It's going to have everything set up just the way you want it. You have your shed out there for a shop to work in. Have several of them. Some for storage, some for workshop. Have different types of workshops by doing that. Then you can work your yard up however you want it, and you can have those chickens in a greenhouse. Yeah, it means a lot of work.
Chris, how about the extended car loans? So yeah, it used to be car loans was like 3 to 5 years, and now it's somewhere 5 to 10 years.
I didn't know you could get them for 10 years.
Depends on where you buy them from.
But that's right, Dream. That's the only way to go. As long as it's got a good foundation, a good roof, half decent electrical and plumbing, And if the plumbing's easy to get to, if you got to redo some of it, that's not a big deal. PEX pipe and shark bite fittings. Run your length, snap. Run your length, snap. Done. So that's really not a big problem. If you know how to do electrical, a lot of things you'd be able to do yourself on that too. And you fix up what you get a fixer up or fix it up. A few new outlets and switches here, new fixtures there. Little sheetrock repair or put you up buy some hardwood, put it up, or just get paint. You can fix up a place. As long as the bones are good, plumbing, electrical, structure, foundation, roof, if those are good, everything else is just cosmetics. So you can fix her up, have a better home than somebody that's bought one of these fast-built, shiny-looking new homes that a lot of them, I guarantee you, aren't built well.
I see too many shows on brand new homes that are leaking and have issues now.
And then if you're smart like Chris with the refinancing, you can get your payments down, your interest rates down, and paying less on it till you get it paid off. Or if you do all the other stuff to save money and put that money as an extra payment on the house and chew up that interest, you can still have it paid off in a short amount of time. But most people won't do that because they got to have everything new and show off they've got this, they've got that. Check out my new car. Sitting there eating beans and cornbread all the time to be able to afford the house and the car, or less than the kind of food you'd like to eat anyway. Of course, a lot of times some of that stuff ain't worth it because Yeah, I'm not supposed to be doing anything like that, but I had to do the crawling under the house when we redid the plumbing here. Materials wise, it only cost around $500. But when it's me, 100% disabled due to nerve damage, and an 85-year-old man doing it, he wasn't going to crawl under there. He caused the problem, but it was a blessing in disguise. God got us new plumbing. We bought stuff on my Lowe's card to get 10% off, and they paid us back the total cost when it was done. He ran over the outside spigot out there, and we dug into it, and he discovered all the plumbing needed to be replaced because it wasn't going to last much longer nohow. So that was a blessing in disguise. It was a pain in the butt. I'm still trying to recuperate. I'm not hurting quite as bad as I was. But, and as far as that goes, Dream, you got to do it. Get PEX pipe. It ain't that expensive. Where they'll get you is if you buy brass fittings, it's going to cost a good bit. If you buy shark bite, it's going to cost a touch more. But with the brass fittings on PEX pipe, you got to get a cramper, which is about $90. Then you got to get the cramps, which, what was they for a 25 pack? $20-something, $30-something.
Close to, yeah.
Then you got to buy the cramps. That's costly.
And if you're not sure if you're going to do it right, better get that uncrimping tool too.
Which costs about as much as the crimping tool.
It's $50 or $60.
Because you are going to make mistakes with it, because especially if you're doing one on a vertical, you got a pipe coming down, you put the fitting up in it, you got that crimp right there, and you're trying to hold that crimp just exactly where it needs to be to do right, and then try to get that crimper on it. You about need 2 people to do it. If you're going to get it right. You're going to mess up a lot of cramps because it's going to slide up or down depending on if you're on top of the thing or on the bottom of the thing. So you got to try to hold it in place. Then you got to try to get that big old crimper on it, and then you got to squeeze that thing. And once upon a time, I could have squeezed that thing like it weren't nothing. But in the shape I'm in now, it's like me trying to bench press 500 pounds.
Ain't gonna happen.
But just about don't. And I've got a buddy. Had they been able to get down there, my entire thing probably wouldn't took him half a day. Digging stuff up, cutting out the old piping and everything, and then setting up the new. But when you got a 60-year-old nerve damaged, disabled man and an 85-year-old man who thinks he knows everything, it's going to take a few days. But if you get pecks and shark bite, and the shark bites are expensive, but you ain't got to buy a cramper or a decramper and cramps and try to deal with that cramper trying to press them down. The shark bite, you run your length to get them where you know they're going to go together. Whichever, if you need a 90 or a T or whatever it is, once you get your pipe set up, all you got to do is go pop, pop, done. I think I made a believer out of that 85-year-old man with a shark bite because I had to go back up under there to fix one leak, and it was an elbow, a 90. I went up under there, I cut out the old one, made sure the pipes were going to reach right. Snap, snap, done. He's like, "You already done?" I said, "Yeah. That's all there is to it. Snip, pop, pop. Done." Which one did he do? The shark bite or the cramps? Brass and cramps. But
3 hours.
But PEX is supposed to last like 70 years, so I'll be long dead and gone by the time it needs any work. Or should need any work. Let me rephrase that like that. But that's what's been on my mind is that 50-year mortgage. Everybody complaining about it. But most people not realizing that if they're smart, they can still work it to where they can still have their house paid off quick if they get something that would fit their need but needs a little work. Same with a car, something that'll fit their need but needs a little work as they go. You fix it up, you're good to go. You save some money. You put that extra money on the house payment instead of buying everything brand new and having to have this new little gadget and that new little gadget, and cut down on how many times you go out. Cook everything at home. Make your lunches at home, take them to work. Go back to old school ways. Then you'd be able to have that thing paid off a lot quicker than 50 years. And you might have it fixed up enough to where you could sell it for the cost of a better place that you got your eyeballs on. Like Miss Joy and Scott did, coming from Colorado, going to Texas. They sold one place and was able to pay outright for the new place and still have a nice place. maybe even a better place. I don't know. I don't know what the old place looked like. I know one YouTuber, she did the same thing. She's pretty big on YouTube. And she had this itty bitty house out in Washington. And it was on probably less than 1/10 of an acre. She sold it for a price that she come out to Virginia. She was able to buy her this big 3 or 4 bedroom, full attic, garage, nice size shed on the place. I think it was about 3 to 5 acres. And had money left over. And then she went to fixing it up. And she ain't got no house payment either. She was smart. And when I say she's smart, folks, let me tell you something. She'd make me look like a tard. And I ain't no slouch, but I'm not on the same level as she is, that's for sure.
Her and her husband both.
Yeah. Her husband's smarter than she is. And she'll tell you that. And this woman can do all sorts of math, all the funky types of math. She can build, do woodwork, do electrical work. I mean, really not a whole lot that woman can't do. But that was being smart. She had that place. She got into YouTube. She started making some money with that. She's got a kid that's probably 10 to 15 years old by now. And everything. She don't want for nothing. Because that's how she did it. And I've known a lot of people who have done it that way. My neighbor, he built his own house over here, and he's built others since, because he was in construction. He owned his own construction company. And he built that down there across the road from us. And his wife, I don't like her much. She's a gossip. Busybody. But when it comes to the money, she's Johnny on the spot. You know, he went out and made the money. She made the money work for him. And I'll give her that, even though she is a gossip. But got to give credit on things where credit's due. But anyhow, and that's the thought that's just been bugging my mind about that, people being in an uproar about that 50-year mortgage. Well, they wasn't doing any better for themselves on a 30-year mortgage because they was always maxing everything out. Elaine and I have had to do that with credit cards and stuff because Elaine and I, we were just this side of being homeless. We had nothing. Well, when I became disabled and was getting a check, that was a blessing in disguise. That gave her some money to work with. And since then, you know, we bought that van and that car, and we've gotten a few other things. And we're kind of built up on the credit cards, but we're also almost to the point where we can start adding the money from one bill to the next bill up to pay that one off, and then do the same on the next one up. So we're almost to that point where we can start doing that domino thing, pay everything off. Might take us a couple, 3 years.
That's the way I hope it works.
Might be less, depending on how she's able to work it for us. She's been managing the money. She's a Proverbs 31. I keep my hands out of it. You know, something new for the kitchen because it's needed. She'll be researching stuff, and she'll come to me and she'll start talking to me about it. And I look at her and say, "Who you trying to convince?" She hates spending money more than I do. And I hate spending money. But sometimes you got to get stuff because it's a need. So I tell her, she'd come talking to me about it. And you can tell she's more trying to convince herself than me. Me, I could see the checks and balances on it and knowing that it's a need. And I'd be like, who are you trying to convince? Then we'll get it and we'll get things paid down and all like that. And it works out. But we're almost to that point where we can start doing the domino effect. And coming from technically homeless, because I don't own this home. She was living with the family where she was at when we got together. You know, she was driving a borrowed vehicle. I had a busted vehicle. And we've gone from that through her managing the money I get from being disabled to we've got a nice little car to get out and do what we need to do if we got to do it. You know, but people all in an uproar about 50-year mortgage, but they don't realize that they wasn't doing themselves no favors on a 30-year mortgage either, because they were keeping themselves maxed out and not settling for something a little bit less, but that was still serviceable and would do the job. Now they got to have something brand new to do the job. You know, and then not use it after they do that one job. Go find something that'll do the job that's not new, but will do the job. Or, you know, if something like what you need isn't a normal thing you'd find at a yard sale, garage sale, whatever, you go rent that tool. So that you can do the job and then return the tool. There's ways of doing that. That way you ain't buying it as yours. You still pay a cost, but you ain't paying a cost for something that's going to cost you more and then sit around for 10 years before you might have need of it again. Yeah, you've got it. What need of it do you have? I've got things down here I'm trying to get my little sister to come down here and get because it's just sitting there not being used, and it's a dang shame that it ain't being used. And I know my bro, her husband, could definitely put it to use. And I know that if I ever needed it, I know where it would be. I hate to see something sit and not be used. And, you know, so there's that. So people don't do no better by themselves on a 30-year mortgage. What's the difference in a 50-year? They're going to do the same thing. They're going to see if they can afford a bigger, better house on a 50-year mortgage than they could on a 30, and they're going to go for the max on that too. And instead of finding them something that will suffice for their needs and fix it up. Money they're saving can go to knocking down that mortgage with a quickness, relatively speaking, and have money to fix it up. So by the time 20 years goes by, if they've been smart, they've paid the place off 30 years early, but then they don't have a payment. They fixed it up over the years, so now it's really nice. There's ways built into all that, you know, even with a 30-year mortgage. There's ways built into that where a person could still pay it off early, have a really nice place, and then in half the time or less, be sitting there with a paid off home that's really, really nice that they could probably get 5, 10 times for what they paid for it if they happen to want to level up and get a better home. But like I say, the way they build homes now, I wouldn't guarantee that it's a better home. You know, my manufactured homes and site built homes both. You know, we've seen people who do videos on home inspection and stuff, and a lot of these flipped houses, especially the shortcuts I have seen on those. You ain't getting a better home, but you paying the price for one. So I just find the uproar about the 50-year mortgage kind of silly, because there would be ways to be able to pay that thing down relatively quickly and still have a better home by the time they pay it off in half or less than half the time that the mortgage is set for. But they just don't do it because they don't want to have to put no work into it. They just want to throw their money at it. So that's why I find that funny. And if interest rates do go down, the interest the banks would have made won't be what it would have been under current standards. That just goes back to the people don't think. People aren't willing to sacrifice a little work here and there to do better in the end. But that's my rant for the day. I think I'm going to get off of here. I ain't been up since about 1:30, and I'm hungry.
I was just sitting here thinking about fixing something to eat. Don't know what I'm going to fix.
I still got another cup of coffee's worth of coffee in there that I want to get to. All right, Dream, you go get her. I hope she's doing well, or as well as she can. Anyway, y'all think about it. Piggy loves you.